So the next day I got to the studio nice and early, and then they told me Malwyn Griffiths was doing the commentating. Oh, Moaning Mal, I calls him. You know him, or you know what I mean, don't you? He's never got a good word to say for anyone. Dar says he used to play for Wales back when Wales had a team. He said he was good at rugby. I said, well, I hope he was better at rugby than he is at commentating. Wash your mouth out, girl. That is one of our national heroes you were talking about. I said, well, he might be a national hero, but he's a miserable old git. So, the game started, and it was all going all right. And then, Geraint, little GTI, he dropped a catch. Now, it must be awful hard to catch a funny shaped ball coming down out of the sky at you. But to listen to Maldwyn, you'd think no one had ever dropped a ball in their lives. I was just about to type in, that was a terrible attempt to catch by the number 11, when I stopped. I suddenly remembered. Geraint's Nan and Gramps, Annie and Di, they were watching this. They could see the boy had made a mistake. They didn't need telling. So I had a little think, and I put, that was a difficult catch that would have been hard for anyone. I thought that was quite well put. Next thing, Maldwyn saying, that was a terrible pass from Jenkins. Now, obviously Jenkins didn't mean to pass the ball to the opposition. So I put, the ball passed from Jenkins didn't go quite where he intended to. Then, half time, the adverts come up automatic like they're already translated. So I nipped off to the loo. And on the way back, I had to squeeze past this man. I swear he had 5 bellies. And he was saying, they're ruddy rubbish, I could do better. I felt like saying, what a ass, the ball. I thought, typical men. They always think they know they can do better. And that's when I had my brilliant idea. I went back to my seat and we did the art-time commentary as usual. And then when the next adverts came on, I adjusted my seat so I had a good view of the big screen. And I turned down the sound of my headphones so I wouldn't get distracted. And I was ready. Now I've got to tell you, commentating's not as easy as it looks. For a start, I didn't know the names of all the opposition. But I didn't think that mattered too much. Not in Wales. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not all for sure about the rules. Barry, my brother, he plays rugby, only for the local team, mind. But Mam says if he spent less time in the clubhouse and more time on the field, he could be playing for Wales. But that's Mam's view. Barry's tried to explain the rules, but I still haven't really got it. I tell you what is good though, and that's the ref having a mic. He kept telling the boys what to do. He said, play the ball. Well, that's fair enough. And sometimes I think, you know, he was trying to give good advice, but he wasn't always giving the best, telling them what right things to do. Because he said, play the ball, yeah. But then he kept saying, keep back, boys, keep back. How are you meant to go forwards if you've got to keep back all the time? Mind you, the Azerbaijanis couldn't understand him, so perhaps that's why they were doing better than our boys. Then, oh yeah, then he said, you can't turn a ruck into a maul, boys. Oh, I thought that sounded good. It makes me sound as if I know what I'm talking about, so I typed that in. Of course, strictly speaking, it didn't need to be translated, but there might have been blind people listening. And if I wasn't sure what was going on, or it went a bit quiet, then I talked about other things, like how nice their jerseys are, and how Mam wonders how they get the mud out, because she can never get the mud out of our Barry's. Dar says that's because the earth is tainted with the blood of the miners, but he's always been a bit soft in the head, and I don't think it is really. I said hello to Annie and Di, and wished Di well from everyone at Tellycymru. And I gave a little mention to Yaya and a Greek and lamb chop in the hope I get a free drink next time I went in. And I think it would all have been all right if it hadn't been for that scrum near the end. I tell you what you notice when you're commentating that you don't usually notice, and that's the camera angles. Drawn like our Barry to the clubhouse. You watch next time there's a scrum. Now, I'm not being funny. I know you've got to have big men in the scrum. But do we have to have their big bulging backsides plastered across our televisions? There could be old ladies watching. My man watches this. I was just typing in elephant's thighs in tight little shorts when I caught a movement in the corner of my eye. I looked over, and coming towards me with a face like, well, like a rugby player's arse, was the assistant producer's assistant. She grabbed me by the arm, pulled me out of my chair, sat down and started typing. Tellycymru regrets that due to a technical hitch we are unable to continue with interpret for the rest of this game. I said, what technical hitch? She looked at me and snarled. You were the technical hitch. I was in the Evening Post on the Monday. In his column, the editor said it was a pity Tellycymru didn't have a sense of humour. I phoned him and asked him if he'd like me to write a weekly column. He said no. Hey, did you see the Sun picked up on it too? Did you see the headline, Bummer? That was me. They started a campaign to get me my job back. I phoned the editor this morning to see how it was going. He said they'd only had 4 letters. But that can't be right, because Mum said more than that. So that's why I'm down the job centre now. Mum said I got to look for a job that didn't involve reading, writing or contact with the public. But like Dar said, all the pits are closed.